All right, how's that?
Is that better?
Test. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we've got a new host on StadiaCATS. I'm replacing Lloyd.
It's been a long time coming. I expected it for many years or for many months, and now it's finally here. And this new host,
better in every way.
Absolutely better in every way. Do you want to say hello? You want to? Oh, she's a little shy. She doesn't want to talk on the mic.
Is that Juno?
No, that's Juno. Yeah, Juno wanted to come in to say hi to everybody.
There you go.
For StadiaCATS. StadiaCATS. StadiaCATS.
We gotta make a song, just calling StadiaCATS. What do you think, Juno? That's a cute cat.
No, if I could keep her on my lap the whole entire episode, I would. But she is the most. She's biting my cord for one. You don't bite cords. We know that. Can Juno give our StadiaCATS update today? She's a little shy. I don't know if she's gonna meow. All right, I'm gonna go put her back out of the room. I'll be right back.
All right, so he's gonna take care of the cat, and when he comes back, I'll switch back over to the other screen. No, that was me, Darren. I screwed up and I hit the wrong button. I have a button that turns off. Oh my gosh, he's still there. Hold on. 2 up, 2 up. There we go. I've got a button that turns off our microphones so that we can have a conversation without other people hearing it. And I had used that button yesterday. Oh, here he is. He's back. I'm doing well. Uncanny. Right. Thank you for asking. Look at they're getting the cats to eat the fish.
That's wonderful.
All right.
That is wonderful.
So there's our. I mean that's pretty much the StadiaCATS update. I don't know if we can ever do better than that.
No, Juno's a cat that she pretends she doesn't know her name, so she looks the opposite way when you say Juno. But when I was in my room, they were both upstairs, so I come out and I'm like, okay, Tank, come on, Tank, Juno. And she sprints down the stairs and comes right up to my computer room. And nice. I'm like, oh yeah, so you don't know your name, huh? Sneaky. But she was happy to come in because she loves this room because their cats are not allowed in this room. They're barred from here because of all the wires.
Yeah, I have. So I've got my camera has a micro HDMI to HDMI cord going into one of my capture cards.
Right.
And when I moved my camera, I had my camera over here and I moved it to where it is now. Mm-hmm. I needed to move a wire. And as I took it apart, I found that wire had a couple of bite marks on it. And I was very unhappy.
That's not, yeah, like she's sitting on my lap and she's trying to bite my headphone cable. And it's like, no, you don't do that. That's why you can't come in here because there's way too many wires. All like the whole every computer system and internet box and all the stuff is in this room, except for like laptops and things, obviously. But yeah. It just like bite the wrong wire, and every single thing in this house will be offline for who knows how long until I find what she actually did. So yeah, there will be no cats in this room for the near future.
And mine are all of my wires are fine. Up until the point where they have to go plugging into all of the different things, because I've got them all bundled together with Velcro. So like you get like it's just a big old, like the wires are like that big around, all stacked together, Velcroed, and the cats can't really do anything to that. But when they break out to get to the computer and plug into the various spots, then they're separated. And I just wish I don't know. I wish that there was a way to have just one wire that did everything, or no wires.
Yeah, wireless everything would be wonderful.
It would.
I bought a
I don't know where he's done. You know, Juno would never do that to us.
I bought this thing from Amazon, a complete cable kit that has like huge like cable tracks and wire wraps and all these things. And I bought this like 2 months ago, like when we first got cats, and I haven't installed any of them because I could take all the wires off the floor and put them on the back of my desk, but I haven't done it. So that's my own fault. The cats can't come in here because I'm lazy, apparently.
Yeah. I didn't do that. I just basically I went to the hardware store and I got those, it's like a hook that you screw into the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so just on the back of my table, I screwed those hooks in a line down the desk, and then I put the Velcro around it and then just put the Velcro over the hook. So it's a little easier.
That's nice. Yeah, I know when you're doing plumbing and you're running like your hot and cold water pipes up from the basement, they recommend now that you put like this, it's almost like a pool noodle type material around the wires or around the pipes, because it insulates them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking I should buy a whole crap ton of that and use it as wire wraps. And then I had something that was the similar texture out there and the cats were biting on it. I'm like, okay, do not use that as wire wraps because that makes them more interested in the wires.
There you go.
So yeah, I don't know what we can do. Okay, I need one more minute and then we can go live. I just need to do something with my door.
Okay, just so you know, we've been live this whole time.
Oh, sorry, recording the show.
Oh, okay.
Live. I know we've been live and talking to people, just not
right.
the recording the show thing.
So we're gonna try something new, everybody. Lloyd usually hangs out on his name in chat, but that means that he can't do the stream markers and stuff like that. So that means I'm recording the show and doing the stream markers and switching the screens and everything, and like it's a lot to keep straight in my head. So Lloyd said that he would do the stream markers, which makes things much easier for me, but that means that you can't tell if it's him talking or if I'm talking. So what we're going to try and do, I'm going to do my best to remember, is if I'm talking, I'm going to use my emote before I say something, and Lloyd's going to do the same thing so that you'll know, oh, it's Bill talking or it's Lloyd talking when we're talking in chat. And Lloyd will do his after because of the way that we're facing in the emotes.
And also because I'm Canadian and we do things different.
That's right. How do you spell color?
COLOUR.
Oh my God.
Which is the right way to do it because the country that invented the language spells it that way.
Yeah, you know what though? The States invented like the internet, and we do that terribly. So I don't know what to tell you, Lloyd.
Fair.
All right.
Fair.
Before we get started, I do want to say thank you to Daniel for becoming a member, and for the little weird, cool pair that is dancing right there. We appreciate it, man.
Cool. So before we start recording the episode, when do you want me to hit the stream marker? Because you were basically stopping and starting the recording process, and I don't want to miss a stream marker.
So just do the stream marker when we change topics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that way, the whole reason for the stream markers is 'cause then it marks it, and then I can go in afterwards and add those. Because it like I tried doing it where I would add in the time codes without stream markers, and I basically had to watch the whole show. I mean, not literally the whole show, but it was a lot. Thanks, Ray.
Ray, Daniel, you people are awesome. So there's a cool pair and a working out pair.
That's right. I did not work out this morning. I slept in because school is coming, and I'm tired. All right, I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna choke on my own spit.
Isn't that the most embarrassing thing when you do that?
It is,
especially in COVID times, because everybody looks at you and you can't even hide it anymore.
Oh my God. So next week, thank you, Consino. Next week I'm going to be back to teaching, and I just know if like anybody is going to sneeze or cough or anything, and all of the kids won't be able to help themselves but make a joke. And like, then I want to say, like, my brain tells me, hey kids, don't joke about it. There's like 180 people, 1,000 or 180,000 people. I don't want to talk about it. It's just they have
someone's
to
gonna
make a joke about
sneeze.
everything. What?
Well, someone's gonna sneeze. Another person in the class is gonna yell out 2319, and people in biosuits are gonna run in and shave them.
What is 2319?
You don't know what 2319 is? Haven't you ever watched Monsters Inc. when they have a sock on them? The monster has a sock on him, and they yell out 2319.
I guess that didn't stick with me as much as
the sock.
Well, as no, as much as the as much as that Mike Wazowski, like that.
Yeah.
That I remember. I didn't remember the 2319 though. That is such a great movie.
It's fantastic. I've watched it a billion times with my family.
Yeah, I did not like Monsters University nearly as much though.
No, it was okay, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
fine.
at the same level.
Yeah,
it was a good sequel, meaning it was less than the original.
yeah, that's true. Although there's some sequels that live up to the hype.
Yeah,
All right,
Star Wars.
Yes, there you go. The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hitting a button.
All right.
So that would be a good time for you to hit a stream marker.
I just did.
There you go. All right, here we go.
Unable. It says unable to add stream marker.
What?
Yep. Unable to add.
Stream marker added. What? Okay. Only I can add stream markers? You're logged in.
Yeah, I'm logged in StadiaCATS.
Okay,
Let's
only
see.
I can
Let's
add
try it
stream
again.
markers, I guess.
Oh, wait. Stream marker added. Markers appear in the video editor. Okay, so it looks like it's working for me now. But the icon's grayed out now. Oh, no, it says unable to add stream marker. Weird.
Okay. Looks like I'm on my own.
Wah, wah. Sorry, dude.
And that's okay. We'll survive. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 74 of StadiaCATS. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much. If you weren't here for the pre-show, you should be here for the pre-show. We had a third person for the podcast, or a third being for the podcast. One of my cats was sitting on my lap, playing with my microphone and eating my headphone cable, as our StadiaCATS intro before we got started. So you're missing all that stuff.
You are missing all that stuff. If you did not want to miss that stuff, then all you would have to do is show up right here at our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this, it's youtube.com/StadiaCast. And we are here every single Sunday at 10 a.m. talking about this week that we've had playing games from the cloud. If you want to directly support the show and you're here with us live, you can use that super chat feature to make sure that we see your message. We respond to each and every super chat at the end of the show in a section that we call crowd play. And then if you're not here with us live, or if you're here with us live, you can click on the join button right down below, and that will 100% help us, and it will get you access to some videos early, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that you can find out about by clicking on the join button. Lloyd, we start every show with what have we been playing, and I think I know the answer to this. What have you been playing, my friend?
Not much, just taking it easy. No, just kidding. I've been playing a crap ton of Marvel's Avengers on Stadia. I picked up the $107 Canadian deluxe edition because I wanted to play on day -3, and I've been playing it ever since. I did a first look, and everybody liked the first look so much that I did a stream for 2 hours, and then everybody said, no, we want to keep this going. So I've only been playing when I've been streaming. And do you know how hard that is, Bill? Like, I know,
Yeah.
I know, well, you do, because you've done that before, but it's like 11 o'clock at night, you can't sleep, and it's like, oh, I just want to run one mission. And it's like, no, I can't do that, because I'm doing it only on camera, and there ain't no way that I'm going to be on camera right now when it's 11 o'clock in the evening and I'm half asleep. So it's been tough to hold off, but man, I've been loving the game so much. When chatting with the people that have been coming out and watching me stream live, we've basically determined that it's the game is Tomb Raider, so like one of the new Tomb Raiders, crossed with Destiny for kind of like the missions and the hubs and all that, with a little sprinkling of Marvel Ultimate Alliance for all the various moves and like synergy moves that you can do and all that stuff. So it's like this taking components from all three of those games and smushing them all up together into an awesome game for a comic book fan. It's not the best game that has ever been made, but for me, it's one of the better comic book games that I've ever played, because most comic book games have been terrible, except for like Batman Arkham and the most recent Spider-Man. A lot of the other ones have just been not good. They've been, hey, here's the script for the movie, make a video game that parallels it, but add bizarro world people into it and change some key components. This has been fun. I did 2 2-hour streams and a 3-hour stream, and then a 1-hour stream. So what's that? 8 hours. And my progress meter says I'm 38% through. Some people are saying they beat the campaign in 7 hours. I have no idea how they did that. Maybe they're playing on easy and skipping cutscenes or something, but the game is absolutely fantastic. It's heartwarming. The characters, I love every single character. Having the person that plays the voice actor, Nolan North, that plays Iron Man in this game, he acts almost like Deadpool in some areas, so that makes me laugh every single time he says something that Deadpool would normally say from other games where he plays Deadpool. It's just been so much fun. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming out and watching my Let's Plays. I'm hopeful that I can finish off the story today and tomorrow, finishing off my live streams and getting more of that out there on YouTube. But the game is fantastic, and I know a lot of people have been worried about the microtransactions, which there's no necessary microtransactions in the game unless you're lazy or impatient. So all of the pre-launch hate that was out there seems to have just kind of dissipated, and you're left with a competent game. Not the best game that has ever been released, but it is a really good game, and I'm glad that it came to Google Stadia.
So are you streaming later today then, you said?
That's my hope. That's my hope. I wanted to stream yesterday, and then we had some personal things came up, and I couldn't do it. So my plan is later this afternoon, early evening, to do another 2-3 hour stream, and then if need be, finish it off tomorrow, because it's a vacation day here in Canada, or in Winnipeg at least. So I have all day tomorrow as well to get through the story stuff, and then start digging into some of the other content that's in the game.
So have you had a chance to play any of the multiplayer stuff, or has it totally just been a solo game for you for now?
It's been a solo game for me right now, because I don't want to dive too deep into the multiplayer and have things not really spoiled, but maybe they make a reference to something that happened in the game as just like a throwaway line. So I want to beat the whole story mode before I get into the multiplayer stuff. And then in multiplayer, that's where the game is really going to open up. There's a whole suite of missions that have story content. Like there's a mission chain for every single character in the game. So Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Miss Marvel, Thor, Captain America. But then there's other strikes. There's other random missions that will come up. There's the ability to just keep leveling up and getting more and more skill points and making your Marvel superhero your Marvel superhero. So it's yeah, it's been awesome, man. I'm just in love with this game. It's better than I thought it would be by playing the beta. I thought the story mode would be when I played the beta, and it turns out the story mode is fantastic. They were divvying up the story missions into little chunks and just kind of like gluing them together for the beta, which made me understand when I first played through it. I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this. All those things that took the story and made it better were kind of chopped out in the beta because they didn't want to give away everything about the game. Totally makes sense now, but when I was playing the beta, I'm like, oh, this is going to be rough. And yeah, there's nothing there. And then yeah, like Ruben is saying, there's factions. There's multiple factions. You can get faction credits with all the different factions by doing their missions and get specific loot that they have available. And it just seems like it's going to be a game that I'm going to be playing for years as they start adding alternates, or additional rather, superheroes to the game.
Well, that makes me happy to hear that you think it's got long legs, because I haven't picked up the game yet. it's, you know, it's $60. I'm super swamped right now. I just don't have time to really dig in. And the thought of having the game but not being able to play it because I'm too busy, it was just, it's too much. And then we also just got all of those pro games, which we'll talk
Yep.
about in a little bit. But I am looking forward to picking it up. So far I've held off, but at some point I'm sure that your praise of it is going to get me to pick it up, and then, you know, we'll be able to do multiplayer stuff, and I think that that will be really fun. Everything that you say about it makes me really, really excited to play it. I've watched a couple of your streams. I knew that you were very, very early games, so I was like, I don't care about super early game spoilers. So I watched a couple of your streams, and I was like, oh man, this looks really, really fantastic. So I'm looking forward to playing this game, but I have not yet. I have been instead playing Bomberman, Super Bomberman R Online, or as I like to call it, SBRO, because
Bro,
SBRO. That game is
it's good.
fantastic. It is so very good. So let's
Yep.
talk about that for a second. You've played it as well,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch for multiplayer is Super Bomberman R. Every time after the game came out, every time we'd have people over, we'd end up in the basement playing four players with four Joy-Cons and just having just a crazy amount of fun with adult beverages and other things involved, of course. The game is so good. And then when they said that they're making a battle royale out of it with 64 people enter, one Bomberman leaves, I'm like, okay, this is going to be ridiculous. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. And then you jump into it, and they did it super smart. Like the way that you start a board and you have like four people on your board, and then a certain time hits and you have to leave your board, go to another screen by walking off the edge. It's just a super smart way to have you kind of stake out your claim, kill people or pick up power-ups or wait it out however you want to, whatever your play style is, and then go into another area which is just completely 100% different than where you just were. It's such a smart way to keep the action constantly coming so that you don't have people that are just hiding out in corners of the map waiting for the time to tick down until the final board. Just a super smart way to do it, and I've been absolutely loving it.
I really like the well, I love the fact that, you know, the boards get smaller, and the available play space gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I think that that's fantastic. I also really like the fact that you've got two phases for combat there, or for the gameplay. You've got battle phase and then movement phase. So in battle phase, that's when you have your abilities and your bombs and all of that stuff. But then at the end of battle phase, when those doors open up, you can't use any of your abilities. You can't use any bombs. And at that point, that's when you stop paying attention to the middle of the screen, because you don't have to worry about bombs or anything. And you look at what's going on around the outside, where you get to see all of the other places, and you can see which boards have been are dangerous, which boards are about to be dangerous, and which boards are free. And then there's one that has a star on it. I have yet to figure out what that means. I think it means that there's more power-ups hidden in the blocks on that board, but I can't confirm that yet.
Right.
So you look at the map, and then you try and make your way to the star board. But of course, you can see that, okay, it looks like there's 8 people. There's 8 people on the starboard. I probably don't want to go there because it's going to be dangerous. And you only have like 20 seconds to figure out where you're going to go and get there. And then once you get to a board, you can see like all of the blocks are gone. That all of the brick blocks that you will blow up, those are all missing, but you can see where they're going to land. If they land on you, it kills you. So
And you pop an achievement for being dumb,
right.
I guess is what it is.
Yeah, you end up getting an achievement for that the first time, but you want to get into a blank space, but you also don't want to be in a blank space with another Bomberman. So you have to worry about, where am I going to go? And sometimes I'll stand my ground, and there'll be like some other Bomberman in there with me, and if they stand their ground too, then I'm like, I'm not sure if I should get out of here or not, or am I gonna stand in here and try and blow them up? It's really, really cool. And then you've got the ability to kick the bombs, punch the bombs, pick up and throw the bombs, and that's just the Bomberman characters. Then there's
Yeah.
all of the other characters, and each one of them has a specific ability that makes them unique. But I
Yep.
feel like it's balanced really, really well, because I've seen like incredibly powerful white bombers on the game, because they've picked up a bunch of power ups, and basically they have the maximum amount of power ups that they can pick up. So,
Right.
somebody gets the ability to shoot a bomb from far away and make it explode, but that means that they also can't carry as many bombs, or maybe they walk slower. Or there's this one guy that walks around with a sword and can like kill you with the sword or knock you down with the sword, but he can only
Right.
place one bomb, and his bomb only blows up one space, and
Yeah.
he moves so incredibly slow that he's hard to play as. The balancing in this is really good, and I was
Yeah.
worried it was going to be pay to win when I saw that they had all of these other characters, but I don't feel like it is, and I look forward to them adding more characters down the line.
Yeah, no, I agree fully. Some of the special moves that they have are just so annoying and it makes me angry. But then you realize, oh, well, they can't pick up bombs and throw them. They're stuck behind these blocks. I'm just gonna start tossing bombs at them and have fun with your special move that can't hit me. Like you said, the balancing is just it's done so well. The one thing that I don't like about this game is that I'm not playing it right now. Like it is such a fun multiplayer game. It really it has a really good home on Stadia. Like if this is a game that's going to be on Stadia Pro for a while, like this could be the Tetris 99 of Nintendo Online, where Nintendo came out with their Nintendo Online, just like Microsoft and Sony had their own online pass where you have to pay this fee to get online and play. And everyone's like, well, we've never had to pay online on Nintendo consoles before. This sucks. And they're like, okay, but if you pay for online, you get this new version of Tetris and you get all these old video games, and it kind of softened the blow a little bit. Having a title like that on Stadia for Stadia Pro, I think is going to be huge, and it's going to bring other people to the platform. That said, Bomberman R isn't a Stadia exclusive, so or Bomberman R Online isn't a Stadia exclusive, so you'll be able to play it eventually on other platforms. But I think for the near term, it's gonna hopefully get a lot of people to jump in and try out Stadia, because this is going to be a fun game. And once crowd play launches for everybody, not the chosen few for beta testing, this is going to be huge. Like I could see us having a regular, say, Wednesday night Bomberman or something, where we queue up, we stream for a couple hours, we have our chat room comes in, puts their name into the queue to get into our games. And I could see this being a really fun way to just play with the community, because the game itself is so simple. You don't have to be good with mouse and keyboard. You're not shooting people in the face. It's all mostly fun, even though you are blowing people up. There's no blood and guts. It's I think this is going to be a really good game for the Stadia community. Google just really has to start getting that crowd play functionality out there for more people.
I think, yeah, I do think that I think that this is the type of game that would really grow Stadia, because of the multiplayer aspect to it, and it's
Yep.
incredibly fun. I will say, you said the thing that you hate about it. I'm going to say the thing that I hate about it, and that is that they do not teach you how to play. Yeah, I was so confused. I was playing the game, and as I was playing the game, I was like, wow, how are these people picking up and throwing bombs? I'm hitting all of my buttons. None of them are doing anything. I haven't played Bomberman in 3 years. When it first came out on Switch, I had Super Bomberman R, and I played it a little. I played it a little bit. I really enjoyed it, but nobody else in my family really cared for it, so it just kind of died for me. It's not a fun single player game.
Right.
But I couldn't remember what to do, and there is like I would have been nice to be able to play against bots for a little while, just to get my feet wet and understand how things work and allow me to
Yeah.
test all of the different characters. But there's no tutorial in the game at all. So I spent far longer than I think that I should have, because I had to play every single character and try and capture using their special ability for every single character. And I have to admit that there were many times where I used their ability and forgot to hit capture because I was so focused on the game. I was having so much fun.
Right.
So I went through and I played every character and I recorded what everybody does, and I showed off throwing bombs and kicking bombs and punching bombs and riding the Louis, which is this weird kangaroo thing, and I edited it all together and made a tutorial for people to watch. So if you have not seen that yet, it's on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/StadiaCATS. But man, Konami, feel free to just take my tutorial and put it in your game, because that was confusing. It's very confusing to play when you see other people doing stuff and you can't figure out, oh, well, I haven't picked up the power glove. That's the reason I can't throw the bomb yet. And there's nothing in the game that tells you that. They even have a QR code in the game that's like, this is the instruction manual. I was like, okay, this will help. So I grabbed my phone, I point at the QR code, I look at it, and it doesn't tell me what any of the icons mean. Like the boxing glove, I didn't know that was punching a bomb or whatever. They just don't explain anything. It's an awesome game, and they don't teach it to you.
I think what it is Bomberman has been around since like the Super Nintendo era, and the game really hasn't changed much. Like the original release of Bomberman on like the NES or Super Nintendo were pretty I don't know, feature not feature complete, but the game really hadn't changed much. And then the Super Bomberman came out, and they added a bunch of other functionality like the bomb gloves and roller skates and all that stuff, which is great. And the game has basically been that way from then till now. Not everybody has played the Super Nintendo version, but I think they have an idea that everyone's played this before. We don't have to explain everything, which is not the right way to onboard new people that have maybe never even heard of the Super Nintendo into playing this game. So just having a couple quick tutorial cards up front would have been just huge to kind of ease these people into the game, because not everybody's played this game that's been around for like decades, unfortunately.
The other game that I've been playing, thank you, honey. The other game that I've been playing, it has been PGA Tour 2K21. I am obsessed with that game. I play it every chance that I get. This week I've been, getting prepped for school reopening, and I've been super busy. So I didn't even get to finish the tournament that I made for our society. I hate the word society when I'm talking about the game. It's just so goofy. But if you haven't already joined our society, join the Nerd Nest Society, and we're doing tournaments. I think that we've got a new tournament that started today, and it's going to go for the whole week. And there's like 4 rounds in it, and one of the days is going to rain, and the other day the wind is going to be crazy or whatever. And I think that I set it to amateur difficulty, but PGA Tour still has not been patched on Stadia. Like, I still am hitting menu buttons and it gets stuck, but when I play the game, it's just awesome, and I can't wait for them to patch it and make it even better.
Yeah, I played a few more rounds of PGA Tour. It's so good. I played a little bit more Spiritfarer. That game is just so heartwarming. It's such a joy every time that I sit down to play it. But then I have my game I'm married to, Elder Scrolls Online. I have to get in there and do my daily stuff there. And then Marvel Avengers, I'm jumping into doing it. There's just so many amazing games right now to play on Stadia, and we're having problems playing it all, which is a really good problem to have. When there's more good games on a platform than you can play, that means that the platform's starting to flesh out a little bit, which is a very, very good thing.
All right, let's move on to we had a bunch of pro games that came out this week, Super Bomberman R being one of them. Have you had a chance to try the other pro games? And I'll just remind everybody what those pro games are. We've got Hitman, the complete first season, Gunsport, Hello Neighbor, Metro Last Light, Redux, and all right, I'm going to stop for a second. Redux or Redo? How do you say it?
Redux.
Okay, Redux. And then Ember Early Access. So we've already both played a bunch of Ember. But what about these other games? Did you play the other pro games?
I have not played Hitman. I want to try Hitman. I want to give it a try. So I've had a very complicated past with Hitman. One of my really good online friends absolutely loves the franchise, and that is all he would ever talk about whenever a new Hitman game was coming. Like, this is back in like the Xbox 360 era and PS2 era, or no, I guess PS3 era would have been when this started. Whenever a new Hitman game would come out, he'd be like, "Oh, I can't wait! Look, have you seen this? You can do this! Oh my god, this is amazing!" And I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna try it again." And I would buy, rent, borrow a copy of Hitman, and I'd put it in, and I'd get partway through the first mission, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, this sucks! I just, this isn't my game." And then I would take it out and I'd return it, and I'd say, "You're a fool. Don't tell me to play Hitman again." And then without fail, the next one would come out, and this whole dance would start again. I should love Hitman because I love being a sneaky thief in like in RPGs like Skyrim. I love kind of hiding in the shadows and setting things up. But I've had a complicated history with Hitman. So maybe once I get through the story mode of Marvel, I'm gonna jump in and play through a couple missions at least. But yeah, I've already played Metro Last Light, so I'm not going to jump in and play that one. Hello Neighbor, I played when it was in the first early beta. I got a kind of a checkout code before it was public on Steam. Played that and didn't like it too much, so not likely for me to jump into Hello Neighbor on Stadia. But the one game that I'm actually really excited about, Gunsport. The only reason why I haven't played it is because I have a Marvel's Avengers to play right now, and I just don't have the time to jump in. So I'd love to do a first look of Gunsport to get it out there, even though everybody that has Pro can jump in and do it. But yeah, no. The long answer, which should have been a short answer, is no.
That's okay. Hey, man, we're podcasters. We don't have short answers.
That's true.
I have played a little bit of Gunsport. I was going to record a first look, but I wanted to understand how the game worked. So, maybe I'll record, maybe you'll record, somebody will record something for Gunsport, I'm sure. That game's actually really, really cool. I want to describe it like, all right, here's what thoughts occurred to me when I was playing Gunsport. You remember that feeling that you had when playing Street Fighter 2 back when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it feels like you're playing Street Fighter 2. It doesn't feel like you're playing a volleyball game. It feels like it's a fighting game, and it's really, really good. So if you have not checked out Gunsport yet, you control one of two characters on your side. You have I'm going to get the words wrong. You've got the attack and the defense guy, right? The defense person has the ability to shoot more often. Okay. And then the attack guy shoots less often, but can jump. All right. The defense guy is just kind of crouched down in the background. And there's a ball, which for some reason continually changes shape. I don't understand. Like, I wish it was just a regular ball. It's weird that it keeps changing shape as it's moving across the screen. And you want to shoot that ball with your guns in order to get it to go into the goal on the other side of the essentially volleyball net. And you'll have there'll be different goals. Like, there'll be a green goal up top and like a yellow goal and then a red goal down on the bottom, because it's harder to get it into that red goal. And as you volley that ball back and forth, the score multiplier keeps increasing. And in order to win a match, you have to hit a certain score. So, like, it's the first to hit like 60 or something like that. So it keeps going back and forth. And if you get a goal and it hasn't bounced even once, then that score is worth less than if it's been volleyed for quite a few times. It's a really cool game. I love the feeling of, this feels like somebody grabbed an old Super Nintendo and made this game on that Super Nintendo. It's just fantastic. I really like Gunsport, even though I've only played it for like 2 matches. What I have played, I've been very impressed by. I just haven't had time.
Nice. I definitely need to check it out. One of my favorite arcade games was Windjammers on the Neo Geo, which it's kind of like a Pong game, but with frisbees and special moves. It basically added Street Fighter type moves to kind of like a pong, frisbee back and forth kind of game. This seems like it would be sort of similar. Obviously, you're not top down and you're not playing with a frisbee, but kind of the similar thing where you're doing special moves and you're trying to get the highest score and things like that. It's right up there on my list of things that I want to play. Once I beat the Marvel's Avengers story mode, and then I can play on my own time, I will be doing a lot more of that stuff for sure.
And when you get your monster set in ESO, then you'll have other
They
things
don't.
to do.
They don't exist. They don't exist. I'm telling you, it's all a troll to convince me to waste my time opening random bags that don't give me what I need.
I will say this about Gunsport real quick before we move on, is that okay, so in Street Fighter 2 how you play the match and then like, but right before the match the characters like they trash talk each other.
Yeah.
They do that in this too.
Nice.
It's so nostalgic, and of course, Lloyd, your love of all things synth wavy and 80s ish is going, like, you're gonna fall in love with this game if it holds up. Like, I've only played two or three matches before I ran out of time, but it's really good what I've played so far. I'm excited to play more.
Awesome.
You know what we should do, instead of doing a first look, we should both play a bunch, and then you and I should record it and play against each other and do that as a video.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got a bunch of news stuff to talk about. I'm just looking at my mixer so I hit the right button. All right, and save, and I'm going to put down a marker. I've been kind of doing the markers in the middle of it. File, save. Let's go ahead and save what we got so far. It's StadiaCATS 74. Can you believe that we've done this 74 times?
Yeah, that's crazy.
74. Thanks, Anthony. We'll get to your question at the second or at the end.
Just give me 2 seconds before you start recording.
Don't tell me.
I gotta send my wife. I gotta send my wife a quick text.
Don't tell me my business, devil woman. There's a bag on the porch. So Keith is saying this Hitman is definitely more polished. There's a new escort mechanic, which means that if you're caught trespassing, the AI will escort you out instead of turning hostile immediately. Okay.
All right.
I've never played a Hitman game.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, as I was talking in chat, I would set up like literally 40 minutes. You'd watch the pathing of the guy that you had to kill, and he's like, hey, he goes here, he goes past this table, he goes over here, he talks to this guy, and you'd be like, okay, so after 10 minutes of watching him, I know exactly the path he's going to take. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to poison this wine for someone that's a bystander. Then when that guy freaks out, I'm going to take him out and everything's going to be fine. And after 45 minutes of planning, some NPC walks in front of you at the wrong time, which has never happened in the 45 minutes prior that he decided to path in front of you. And it's just like, okay, I just wasted 45 minutes setting up for this big kill. And then you'd have to start over again. And it's just like one of those things where it's just like, oh, I don't have the time to waste 45 minutes for something that plays out incorrectly. I got to give it another chance though, because so many of my friends just love Hitman. Or I can do what Jem does, just shoot everyone in the level. Yeah, you can do that too.
Thanks for the super chat there, Owen. All right, let's start the news. Okay, we've got some news to talk about. Not a lot of new news because we had the pro games and we've been playing so many games. It's been kind of crazy. But this first one, have you watched this video, Lloyd?
I haven't watched the video. I've seen some of the screenshots that were being posted on our Discord about it. Yeah,
so somebody has figured out that if you use I forget the name of the browser. There's a browser called Luma something or other, and I thought it was in the show notes, but it's not. And you can set that to pretend to be Google Chrome on iOS, and then you can get Stadia to launch. The only thing is that you can't get rid of the click someplace in order to, you know how when you launch it on a browser on
Yep.
On a computer, it says, hey, click on this to go full screen or whatever, and I guess it
Sure.
doesn't recognize the controller yet, but it loads the games. Like the games
Yep.
are loading, and you are streaming your games. This guy did it on an iPad Pro, so clearly Google can just make it work in a browser.
hmm
And do you think that that's something that they will do if they since they can't get it to work in the app?
I hope so. Find some way, like even if it's like a major caveat saying you can only use this with a Wi-Fi controller on the same Wi-Fi network. You can't tether the controller to your iPad. But if you use a specific browser and you enable this hidden mode, you can then play your games right on your iPad. If they do that, I mean, they would get around the App Store policies by not but they wouldn't have to get around the App Store policies. They'd be within the App Store policies just by having something run in a web page.
Right.
And it won't operate as good as a standalone app, but with VP9 coming to iOS 14, with all that stuff being there, this might be a way for Google to get around all of this limitation, just by coming out with their own Chrome browser that supports Stadia and has all these kind of weird one-off settings. If you're on stadia.google.com, don't pop up that little message and allow people to use Wi-Fi controllers.
I think that this is this for me is huge. I don't care even a little about playing on my phone, but playing on my iPad,
Yeah.
that's a big screen, and it's a great screen. I would be very happy to be playing on there. So, look, I think that maybe this is the reason. Okay, not this particular browser and this guy figuring it out, but I think maybe this is the reason that Google is just kind of taking a step back and not joining in with everybody who's yelling at Apple right now, because they
Right.
know that if we could just get this to launch on a web page, then it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, and then we'll be fine. Because I cannot imagine that Apple would go so far as to block a web page like that. That
Well,
seems insanity to me.
well, for the longest time, they said if you don't want to make an app for the Apple ecosystem, make a web app, and it'll run on every browser. So if Google just follows through with that, Apple really can't say anything about it. It's not like they're doing an Epic and doing something that is directly against the terms of service. It's just a web page that runs on a web browser using WebKit, which is Apple's Apple's API for displaying web pages. You're using everything that Apple is giving to you to show this. They could even build that into the Stadia app. They could have a button where you hit it and then it launches the Chrome browser or takes them to a page to download the Chrome browser on iOS 14. So this may be a way for them to get around it, with some caveats, and it's going to be a few rough edges on this. But if this is the way that Bill can play Stadia on his iPad, I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
I would be very happy with that. I love my iPad. I've been using my iPad nonstop because I've been editing videos on it for work.
Right.
So that iPad is, if I didn't do this stuff, my iPad would be my main computer. It's a fantastic device. Let's move on and talk about Baldur's Gate 3, which is a game that is coming out in 24 days, I believe.
Crazy.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. That is going to be like, I kind of held off on Avengers, and now I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to have time to play Avengers before Baldur's Gate 3 comes out? Because when Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, I am not playing Avengers. I'm sorry, but Baldur's Gate that's going to be where I'm going to be spending my time. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah.
But it's coming out at the end of the month as early access, and very Cromwell on Twitter, who is the director of publishing at Larian Studios, he had a few things to say about the early access launch. So he said, Baldur's Gate 3 early access is going to launch with some funky Twitch integration that will allow you to vote on certain things, a bit like we did in the Panel from Hell, but all proper. So if you don't know what they're talking about, the Panel from Hell was this I don't know, like a roundtable discussion
Yeah.
of what the game was going to be like, and they did things where like there was a choice that the player could make, and they let chat make that choice. And this is definitely sounding like crowd play, but they're also integrating it with Twitch. Now,
Yeah.
somebody replied to that, and they said, "Well, what about crowd play?" And they said we're working on a bunch of Stadia features to make the best use of the platform's cool uniqueness. Nobody will be left out. Or crowd choice, not crowd play. Do you I mean, look, I said, I think last week, if Baldur's, or not Baldur's Gate, if Bomberman launches without crowd play and Google doesn't tell us that ahead of time, that's just bad form. And then
Right.
it launched without crowd play, and Google didn't. Let me make sure that I'm clear. I'm not upset that it launched without crowd play. I'm irritated that they didn't tell people ahead of time that it would launch without crowd play. Do
Mhm.
we think that crowd choice will launch with Baldur's Gate 3 early access? What do you think,
Yeah.
Lloyd?
I don't know. I wanted to say that crowdplay was going to launch with Bomberman. It seemed like the perfect place for it, and then it didn't show up on the day of launch. So I'm thinking no. I'm thinking that will come down the road. I'm also seeing a lot of people that were angry that they're going to be supporting Twitch, and it's like, oh my God, they're doing this. What's wrong? Why are they doing this? Why are they why are they going against Stadia? And it's like, well, that has nothing to do with any of that. Twitch integration for games has been around for a long time. There's a lot of games where your Twitch fans can join your game as NPCs. They can actually join your game just by being there. They can get drops by watching the game. They can little things will come up asking what do you want the person that's playing to do. So all that stuff has been out there for a while. So Baldur's Gate 3 supporting that makes total sense. Why would you have one platform where you can do it and the other streaming platform where you can't do it? So that's good. I'm glad that it's coming to Twitch. I just really hope that the Stadia stuff launches at some point. Like I said, I thought crowdplay was going to be here by now, and I'm just just completely surprised that it isn't here yet.
So, you sent me a message the other day about brand accounts and crowd play. Do
Yeah.
you think that the reason why crowd play isn't working yet has less to do with Stadia and more to do with YouTube? Like maybe YouTube is not getting the like that part done?
Sure. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's weird. Like I saw a tweet about the fact that if you are watching someone play Bomberman and you want to join crowd play, the few people that have the that got the golden ticket to have the beta access to crowd play, if you're watching them, and if I'm watching it and I'm on the StadiaCATS account, I can't join the queue to play with them. I have to then switch to my Lloyd Hannison YouTube account because that one is what's tied directly to my Stadia account. And so I'm thinking maybe starting a crowd play session for a game that is running, that's owned by Lloyd Hannison, but I'm starting crowd play while I'm streaming on StadiaCast. Maybe that isn't going to be allowed, and maybe that's part of the process or the slowdown. It seems like that would be something simple to fix. So I'm thinking not, but who knows? And we're not getting any communication from Google, so we can just throw out all these potential reasons, and who knows if they're gonna if it's gonna ever come out what the reason was for the delay.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've said it on the show a million times. In the absence of information, people will speculate, and
Yep.
speculation often leads people down the wrong path. And then they get irritated when things don't actually pan out the way that they were speculating. So that's always something to keep an eye on. All right, let's move
Definitely.
on and talk about this Ubisoft game that we've been
Mm,
waiting for a long time now. Gods and Monsters. They've changed the name.
yep.
What do you think of the name Immortals Fenyx Rising?
I think it'll be fine. Gods and Monsters seemed a little too generic. It seemed like some like I don't know, really bad, cheaply produced 3D animation that would appear on like YouTube or something, for kids. Like it was just like this weird name. Immortals Phoenix Rising seems better because, well, obviously the main character is going to be named Phoenix. You would think that would be what this is all about. It actually has something that they can market, which is great. The one thing about this, which I know is driving Ubisoft insane, is every single huge announcement that they've had recently has been spoiled. So this came out earlier through a bunch of leaks. In fact, I think this was leaked directly from Ubisoft themselves by putting up some stuff on their website in like France or something. So one of their websites had this out there before everything else. So when people aren't spoiling stuff for Ubisoft, Ubisoft is spoiling stuff for themselves. But we'll find out more about Immortals Phoenix Rising on September 10th. There's going to be the Ubi Forward that's going to be happening. We're going to learn a bunch more. And I'm thinking, I don't have any inside knowledge, but I'm thinking that we're finally going to get details about Ubisoft Plus at this event. I think that we're going to find out when Ubisoft Plus is launching for Stadia, what the cost is going to be, if there's going to be any additional cost to Stadia Pro users, or if it's just going to be you pay your Ubisoft Plus fee, and then you can play all the games on Stadia if you're already a Pro user. We're going to figure out what all those details are. So at least that hasn't leaked yet. There's going to be some news there, but man, you gotta think that they're really upset that they had to put this out before the event.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna talk about, or I want to respond. You just unpacked a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm gonna respond to them in the order that I remember them. The name, I'm gonna disagree with you. We're gonna get some fisticuffs here. All right, so hold
Sure.
up your hands in the right way. There we go. The old timey, curly mustache guys fights.
I need to get some mutton chops going.
That's right, mutton chops. Gods and Monsters is so much better of a name than Immortal Phoenix Rising. I can't stand Immortal Phoenix Rising. I can't stand that they spelled Phoenix the way that they spelled it. It makes me very, very sad. Of course, it's just the name of the game. It doesn't really matter.
Sure.
It's just a name. I'm okay with it. But Gods and Monsters sounded so much cooler to me than Immortals Phoenix Rising. And Phoenix is not spelled like that. So spell things right, people. All right. Sorry. It's September. I'm in teacher mode. Okay.
Sure.
Ubisoft Plus. That's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or
Ubisoft.
you play Plus.
Uplay
I think
Plus.
is
That's
what it
right.
is.
Yeah.
I think I called it Ubisoft Plus.
Uplay Plus. Are you going to subscribe to that? Let's say it comes out and it has all of those games and they're all available. Not just on Stadia, but also like through Steam or whatever. However it is that Uplay Plus works. Are you going to subscribe to that, Lloyd?
I subscribed for the first free month. So you could sign up at E3 and they would send out little notes saying, "Hey, you've been accepted. You can now get your free month of Uplay Plus." And I got in and I played exactly 0 games on it. So I have more games to play than I have time to play them. That said, if I can play the next I don't know, Far Cry, if I can play all the next games from Ubisoft, if I can play Immortals Phoenix Rising on Stadia just by subscribing to Uplay Plus for a month, I am definitely going to do that. It's probably not going to be something that I'm subscribed to for the whole entire year, but it's something that I will dip into every once in a while to play the new games if I can play them on Stadia, because I don't want to play big games like this on my PC. Like installed to my PC is what I meant, because I'm playing Stadia on my PC, but installed on my PC, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. I completely agree. As far as Ubisoft, there's very few games that they make that I get super excited about.
Sure.
Like, because most of them are militaristic shooters, and I'm not good at those kind of games, so I tend not to play them. I was completely floored and surprised at how much I liked The Division 2. That is the perfect mix of arcadey and military shooter for me. I love that game. It's fantastic. I would say that as far as ports of games to Stadia, that is the game that is the best port It feels like I'm playing it on a PC. There's no latency at all when with the mouse and keyboard, and I don't notice any latency at all with controller ever on any games
No,
really. But whenever
zero.
I play it on mouse and keyboard, I'd be like, it feels a little off. Not enough that it would be a big deal, but it feels a little bit off. And when I played
Yeah.
Division 2, it felt perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I was very, very impressed. Um I don't know that I would subscribe to Ubi or Uplay Plus just because most of those games are not really games for me.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what would convince me is, God or Immortals Fenyx Rising, because that game looks great, very Breath of the Wildy. Like I would be very interested in that. And a game that they haven't mentioned when it comes to Stadia. Well, two games that they haven't mentioned when it comes to Stadia. Hyperscape. I would like to try that one out. And I know I can do it on my computer, but I can't be bothered to install Uplay. And then that roller derby game looks that they showed
Mm,
off last year at E3. That game looks so fun and very
right.
e-sporty, and something where I could say, all right, I got 10 minutes. I could sit down and play and get a match in and have fun with it. And I really think that those games could convince me to play, or I'm sorry, join Uplay Plus. It all depends on how much it costs.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who misunderstand how Uplay Plus works with Stadia. Uplay Plus is a separate subscription that
Mhm.
you can have already, and you can subscribe and play all of these games now. The partnership with Stadia just means that you would also then be able to play on any screen, which is cool. Um,
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of people think that it's some kind of thing that's only for Stadia, and I don't want people to think that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I am looking forward to some Ubisoft games, but not as many as most people.
Well, I mean, Uplay Plus, we don't have any of the details. We don't know if there's going to be additional charge if you're wanting to play on Stadia, other than the normal Uplay Plus subscription. If I had to guess, I think it's going to be if you're a pro subscriber, you can take advantage of your Uplay Plus subscription on Stadia for no additional charge,
Hmm.
and there'll just be some behind the scenes transferring of funds between Ubisoft and Google. That would be the best way for them to do it, but who knows? But I'll tell you now that if Uplay Plus is coming for Stadia, and you can play Watch Dogs Legion on October 29th on Stadia, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla on November 17th on Stadia, and Far Cry 6 in February of 2021 on Stadia for your $10 a month or $12 a month or whatever Uplay Plus subscription and nothing else, I will definitely be subscribing for those months. Because I want to play Legion, I want to play Valhalla, I want to play Far Cry 6, and if I can get them for $30 to play all three of those games instead of $180 US to buy all three of those games, that seems like a perfect way to do that. But hopefully we'll find out more at this Ubisoft Connect, because I want to see how this whole stuff lays out. Because as we've come to the conclusion, Bill, over our time of doing the show, what we think is the way things are going to happen oftentimes is not the way things are going to happen.
Yeah.
What is most I don't know, what makes the most sense to us oftentimes is not reality when it comes to what rolls out on Stadia. So I'm gonna hold my excitement for a little bit until we find out directly from Ubisoft how this is all going to work.
Let me ask you a question, real quick, about Uplay Plus. I hate that name, by the way, because I want to say Ubisoft, but that's on me. What if they had hey, here's the monthly price, and then here's the yearly price, and you saw that this game's coming out this month, this game's coming out this month, this game's coming out this month. Do you think that that would entice you to sign up for the full year if it had a slight discount?
Sure. Like if because what I've done before with PlayStation Now is I've bought a full year sub for like the $99.
Hmm.
I did that when they first launched it. I played a dozen plus games. It was a good value for me at the time. If they have something like that for Ubisoft's Uplay Plus combined with Stadia, and I could give them $100, and I have access to the whole Ubisoft library on Stadia, plus all the other games that are in Uplay Plus on my PC if they're not on Stadia yet. That seems like a really good value for me, because I'm already going to save money just buying 2 of those games. So we'll have to see it all works out. But if they offer a year fee for, or a year sub for, like, say $100, that seems like the smart way to go about this, and be able to play things like Beyond Good and Evil when it finally comes out, if it comes out in the year that you're paying for. But all of the other Assassin's Creeds, all of the other shooters, and other games that I really want to play, if I could get them on Stadia through streaming, that would be a fantastic value for me.
Yeah, I agree there. All right, I'm gonna cut the show about, or the story about Orcs Must Die 3 is getting patched. Just, they're patching it. You can check out the show notes if you want to know more about that over at runjumpstomp.com. Let's move on to the end of the show, which we call crowd play. And in crowd play, we have people who've sent in messages during the show, questions, and we also go to Twitter sometimes to talk about that stuff. So let's go into crowd play. First off, before we get started, we have to say thank you to Owen and DeFlem and Consino and Ray and Daniel again for either becoming members or doing their super chats. You guys are really fantastic. We do appreciate that. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Anthony Talcott also sent in a super chat with a question. He said, so with the new graphics cards and cloud gaming, I would be fine if PS5/Series X were the last physical console generation. I highly doubt it will be, though. Thoughts? Also, 3070, 3080, or 3090. So, for those of you that don't know, the new graphics cards from NVIDIA were just announced. Now, the 3070, I don't remember how much that one costs, but the 3090 costs $1,500.
Every next gen console or this one video card,
right? And look, you buy that video card, you better also buy a computer that can do something with it. It's not enough to just buy a video card. This is the reason that so many people look at Stadia and they're like, oh, it can't do 4K 60. I'm like, yeah, but you spent somebody did a test with Doom Eternal with a 3090, and it ran at 4K 100 frames per second. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but then people are like, oh, Doom Eternal doesn't run at 4K 60 on Stadia. Stadia must suck. Okay, but Doom Eternal on Stadia costs $60. Doom Eternal running on a 3090 costs thousands of dollars, because it's not just that graphics card, it's the other stuff too. People in chat are telling us the 3070 costs $500 by itself.
Yep.
So thank you very much for that. So what do you think, Lloyd? Do you think that there's any chance of this being the last console generation?
I mean, they said that the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 would be the last console generation, and then it would go into other things. People are always going to say that. I think there's always going to be a room for consoles. I don't think Nintendo's ever going to get rid of consoles, even like 20 years out. You're still going to be able to buy a Nintendo box to play Nintendo games. But when you look at the fact that you could buy a $1,500 video card, or you can pay $10 a month and have that video card living in the cloud somewhere, I think I'm gonna pay $10 a month to do that personally. I just bought a new video card. I got a GTX 1650 Super. I wanted an RTX, but I didn't want to pay $1,000 for a video card for my computer just so I could capture 4K and do all that fun stuff. I'm in the post PC era in my house as much as possible. So I'm pushing people to Chromebooks and tablets in my house. And if I didn't have to stream and capture, I wouldn't have a PC. I'd have a Mac, and I'd have a laptop and an iPad. So I don't want to buy a $1,500 video card ever. I'm glad it exists for the people that love that. If they want to build a $3,000 PC, more power to them. But if anything, the 3070 actually looks really good for $500. Once that drops to half price, that'll probably be my next video card that I'll be picking up for my streaming PC.
Yeah, and I'm with you on this. You also have to remember, Anthony, and not to say that this is a bad question, because it's not. It's a very good discussion point, and a lot of people assume that whatever reality that they live in is the same reality that everybody else lives in. Sure,
Right.
Lloyd and I have fantastic internet at our house, but 10 miles, less than 10 miles down the road, my dad cannot get good internet for less than $5,000 because Spectrum said no. They said if you
Right.
want us to run cable out to your house, it's going to be $5,000, and that's considering that he
Yikes.
already had the trench dug for his power lines to go to his house, and all they had to do is hook up the wire, and they said $5,000 because there's no competition here. There's a
Wow.
lot of places that don't have good internet. And for those people, Stadia is not a solution. For those people, they want to have a console in their house. They don't
Yep.
want to have digital games. I buy almost all of my games digitally on my Nintendo Switch or on my PlayStation because I don't want to have to deal with discs or cartridges or whatever. That
Yep.
doesn't work for everybody because they go to the store and they buy the game because then they can come home and play it without having to wait hours upon hours upon hours to download it, or because there's no competition in the United States, they have bandwidth caps, and so they can't download the game in the month. Like, what was it, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare or whatever thing, I don't know what it
Yeah.
was, like 200 gigabytes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even Avengers, it's like once you download the game and get the day one patch, it's like 80 gigs for people to download. And I mean, you have to do that before you can even start playing the game. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of people out there that just can't stream this stuff because they don't have the internet, but they also can't download this stuff either because they don't have the internet. So they're going to be limited to buying on disc for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. Anyway, thank you very much for the support and the awesome question, Anthony. We got another question that just came in from Ruben. They sent in a super chat and they said, "Do you think that some pro games don't get the attention they deserve because there are so many pro games out there and they get lost in the competition? Would a developer be happy in a big lineup?" All right, so I'm going to answer my part of this real quick, and then I'll let Lloyd say his piece. Um, would a so first the first part, yes, absolutely. Some games get ignored because there's some other game that comes out at the same time, and that happens all of the time. Not just with Pro, it happens all of the time,
Mhm.
especially in a world where many games come out all of the time. The second part of the question, where you say, would a developer be happy in a big lineup? I think so. And this is me not having any inside information, but I would assume that if I make game X and Google says, "Hey, game X is really good. We want it to be a pro game for December." That means that I'm getting paid by Google whether you play it or not. So I would be happy because here's what happens. If my game is in a big lineup and people see, "Oh man, look at all of the games that you're getting in December." GameX happens to be one of those. A bunch of people sign up for Pro, and a bunch of people are playing those games. So Google's giving me money for each person that has Pro or whatever. I think that is a really good deal. But maybe they're getting paid based on how many times somebody plays it. I don't know what the deal is. What do you think, Lloyd?
Yeah, I don't know. As a developer on Stadia, I think you want eyeballs on your game because you know that the amount of people playing Stadia is just a drop in the bucket compared to people that are playing games on PlayStation and Xbox. So even being a small fish in a big pond would be a good thing for these developers. And the good thing about when you are a pro game, you're getting guaranteed money from Google. I don't have any insight into the contracts, so this might not be entirely accurate, but based on reports from other developers when they were in PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live games with gold, you're guaranteed just a chunk of money, and then you get, I guess, bonuses based on play or download or whatever those, however they ratify that contract and get it ready. So if I'm releasing a game that has a potential audience of say a million, let's just go round numbers, say there's a million people that play Stadia, and you look at your game and it's not a military shooter, so you're thinking, okay, maybe 5% of the people that are playing Stadia are going to see my game. Okay, so am I going to sell full copies of this to 5% of a million? Probably not. Maybe that's 10% of that 5%. And then you do that math. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to make my development money back if I do this. But then Google says, okay, we'll give you $250,000 for this, and then we'll give you bonuses based on all that. And as a small development studio, you're like, okay, that paid for my years of development of this game. Let's do it, and then let's hope that I get my name out there in front of people, so that the next time a Thunder Lotus game comes out, they're like, oh, I loved this game, I loved Spiritfarer, I want to check out the next thing from Thunder Lotus. So developers can actually use it as just another form of marketing by doing things that way. So I think developers are happy to get their to have any console holder put their weight behind their game. It just doesn't always pay out immediately. The hope is that for a lot of instances it pays out down the road.
Absolutely. All right, I think this is a good time for us to wrap up the show. If you haven't already, follow StadiaCATS on Twitter. You can follow me at Run Jump Stomp. You can follow Lloyd at Dasme, that's DASME. You can join our Discord by heading to runjumpstomp.com. You can join Lloyd's Discord by heading to rez.tv, that's REZD.tv. And the music that you are hearing right now is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. Lloyd, it's awesome to hang out with you again. 75 next week.
It's crazy. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye. All right, we're good.
Awesome.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for the support as well.
Yeah, all you fine folks have been super fine today, we'll say.
Super fine.
So I'm gonna plan a Avengers stream, and I'll get it scheduled as soon as I know. I'm just waiting for my wife to come back home and tell me what my plans are for the day, because she always schedules me things on Sundays that I don't know about until I ask her about it. So we'll find out what I'm doing around the house, and once that's all sorted out, I'll schedule another Avengers stream, and we'll do another 2-3 hours and see if we can't burn through the rest of the story content with everybody. So keep your eyes and ears open for that on your device of choice.
Yeah, Root Varani is asking if I'm going to do a Bomberman live stream. I am not. I am, as soon as I finish here, I'm going to work. I have to shoot videos for, like, I'm recording all of the labs that we would normally be doing, because the schools don't have enough equipment for every kid to have to do their own lab, and having them next to each other sharing the lab equipment is unsafe. So
yeah, I
have to record every lab that I do all year. And then I have to edit it, because I'm a perfectionist and I can't stand the idea of you guys know, Lloyd especially knows.
I don't know what you're talking about, Bill.
Cedric just sent in a super chat. They said, Avengers makes me wish all RPG stats were standardized. I hate all the weird names for health and strength. So what's going on there?
Well, it's like, okay, you do this move and you'll regain willpower. And it's like, what's willpower? Is that my health or is that my stamina? I don't know. There's 2 bars. Which one is willpower? Which one is insight? Which one is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's annoying. I wish it just said this regens health and this regens your stamina or your special meter or whatever you want to call it. Some standardized thing, because man, is it ever annoying reading the tooltips and not knowing what they're referencing.
Yeah,
Cedric.
In Elder Scrolls, yes, thank you, Cedric. In Elder Scrolls Online, there's a trait or a passive that I can get. I can't remember which line it's in. It might be in like the light armor line, that will give me more spell penetration.
Right.
And I looked at that and I was like, I don't know what that does. As a DPS person, I would obviously know, okay, well, that would help me do more damage, but does that help a healer? And I'm a healer in that game, so I'm not sure, and I can't be bothered to look it up. So yes, I 100% agree, Cedric. I remember back in the day playing a lot of World of Warcraft, and you would have critical rating, crit chance, and crit something else. I can't remember what it was. And that was, so you had 3 stats that were just affecting your attack criticals. And like people would theory craft and figure out you want to have a high this if you're this class, and it was very, very confusing.
Yeah, it's I agree. That's a really great point, Cedric. I'm annoyed. Almost every video game that I play, I'm annoyed. It's just like, make this simple. Make it so that someone coming in that maybe isn't a long time game player just gets it. Just absolutely gets it. Because it's like health and stamina. Those are words that everybody understands.
Yeah. And Justin Lindholm is saying the third thing that I couldn't remember was crit damage. And then they also had the same stuff, but for spells.
Right.
Charles Oran says, would you mind tweeting the source for the iOS piece, please? I don't need to tweet it, Charles. It's in the show notes. So if you just go to runjumpstomp.com, it's right there.
Yep.
Because I don't have it in front of me right now. I've closed it.
I was going to tweet the link directly, but it's too long. So I'll just tweet the link to the show notes.
Yeah, there you go.
Or I'll text
post it in
or
chat. Yeah.
Words are hard today.
Yeah. All right. I've got to get this edited and I've got to get to work. So I will see you guys later.
Awesome.
Lloyd, enjoy your Avengers stream, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
What time do you think that might be? Just so people.
It'll be probably early afternoon, but I don't know. I don't know yet. So when I know, you'll know.
Well, the solution is, subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll get notified when he goes live, guys.
Exactly.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Later.